Welcome to the channel. Today we're giving you guys tips and breaking down the best players in Apex to help give you an edge and to get you playing like the pros. The pro competitive players do so many little things right that the average eye doesn't catch. So with this video, we're going to be sure to break down all of those in-game decisions and discuss ways that you guys can do this in your game to win more games and to improve your rank. My channel is all about helping you as a player, so if you want to see your name on that championship banner, make sure you drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more Apex content. I have tons of legend guides, rank tips, and plenty of other Apex content, so drop a sub and let's get you on that championship banner. Anyway, let's get right into this video. So first off, before we get into some specific pro VOD breakdowns and kind of show you guys what these players are doing correctly and what you need to try to replicate, before that, we're going to discuss some different roles that each teammate will need to fulfill, because honestly, one of the best ways to improve your game and win more games with your squad is to fully understand each player's role based on their play style and their legend. So we're going to go over those specific roles so you have a further understanding when we break down those specific VODs to help you play like the pros. So first off, we have the scout role. Different legends that excel in this role are legends like Wraith, Valk, Seer, Ash, and sometimes even Crypto. The scout plays forward on the team and has the most aggressive positioning. They look to get info for rotations and look for picks for kill points. In team fights, they look to do entry damage and will often take off angles. This role relies on movement, rotation-based abilities to position aggressively and execute team rotations. In a lot of cases, these are the in-game leaders simply because the information they receive and the opening damage that they put out drive a lot of in-game decisions. So having them as the IGL is a natural choice for a lot of teams. Now, Crypto is unique compared to the other scout characters as he uses his drone rather than positioning to get his information. The next role we have is the Fragger. Some legends that excel as the Fragger are Valk, Bloodhound, Horizon, Fuse. Now the Fragger tends to be positioned in the middle, somewhere between the scout and the support legend. This is so they can float to whichever teammate needs help. Their role is to spit out damage in fights and feed information to the IGL. In many teams, this role is designated to a controller player. This is because controller players have very consistent damage output. Lastly, we have the support legends like Gibby, Caustic, Watson, Newcastle. The support player has the most passive positioning. They're usually last to enter into the fight. They serve to anchor positions that the team has secured to allow the scout to play forward and get info. They leverage their abilities with that Gibby bubble, the caustic gas, the Newcastle revive in order to res their teammates if they go down. Their preferred mode of dealing damage is poking from a distance while they anchor their team's position, meaning a lot of the time the support plays with more ranged weapons. The support legend or anchor needs to be very good at bringing things together when all things break down and to use those support abilities as a defense mechanism, but also to use them to be aggressive to help push as well. In some teams, the support is the in-game leader. This is because they tend to have the widest vision on the battlefield. The two players who are not the IGL will feed information to their IGL and allow them to make the most important decisions. And this brings up to our last position. So the IGL or the in-game leader can be the scout, sometimes can be the fragger, or could be the support legend. The IGL dictates how the team will play and has the final say on team decisions. Things that IGLs manage are the macro and micro decisions, so general decision making, rotations across the map, positioning of the team on the map, and then some micro decisions are like positioning of teammates in fights, or ability usage on their self or on their teammates, or also micro decisions such as coordinating pushes and peak timings in fights. Now that we have a further understanding of some roles in Apex, let's go into detail by breaking down the way FURIA engages 3v3 fights with these roles. FURIA was the team with the most points in the ALGS in that last LAN that you guys saw in Raleigh, North Carolina. They were super aggressive and could really handle their 3v3s and were honestly the best fragging team around. So if you want to learn how to win more 3v3s, then check out this VOD and let's break it down. Being able to watch this and implement these things into your gameplay, it's going to help you in pubs, in arenas, or even ranked Apex. It's not just going to help you for competitive Apex. So just keep that in mind, guys. It's going to help you in any facet when you are fighting another team. Alright, so starting off with this first VOD, we have some perfect examples of playing your team's specific role. First off, we have the actual definition of an anchor on display here. His Watson gets knocked and Zara immediately bubbles because they will have cover and a faster res with Gibby as Panders shuts the door. In addition to Zara being able to immediately be there for his teammate to stabilize as that anchor, as that support player, Panders, as the fragger, does the perfect thing as he slows the enemy's push with arc stars. If a teammate goes down, look and see if you have arc stars or use anything in your arsenal, abilities, shots, whatever you can to try to slow their push and to allow your teammate to get back up. At the end of the day, Apex is all about numbers, so you want to try at all costs to have the upper hand in numbers with fights, so when a teammate does go down, remember, don't panic, stack on top of that down teammate and try and get them back into action. After his Watson is back up, you can see him with that quick and insanely good ability of Seer to be able to locate positions of enemies with his passive. He quickly checks the enemy position and sees he has time to get off a medkit. You'll also notice with this VOD that as the teammates back up from the door, because pushing with a Gibby bubble is a really power play and helps so much with pushes, you can hear that one of their teammates has recognized that the team cannot push with their Gibby bub because they had just used it. So the other team just had to burn their Gibby bubble. So that is just some small and fine detail. By knowing that that team had recently used that ability, it lets you understand how that fight might play out, and it allows you to understand what you might be able to predict what's going to happen when you engage with that team. Next up, we see the team move out and take different angles, and right here you can see his Watson making cover out of something. Find some rock, find some building, use some cover, and get a nice head glitch and sights on the enemy. As damage is being put on this team, we see another perfect example of the entry fragger role as Panders takes height on the building. As most of us know with FPS shooters, height is always more advantageous for many reasons. You get way more headshots, you get better angles for shots, you have more time to heal on height because enemies have to take that extra time to get up there to get to you. So obviously having height is critical to winning fights. So after Panders takes position, we see the micro decisions of his Watson playing out with Seer. He tosses the Seer ult on the roof to prevent it from being shot out. Just a character specific tip, always look to place the Seer ult in niche locations that are difficult to see and find so it doesn't get shot out. Now they make sure to break the Seer ult on the other team, and then when you see the other team engage, they try to solo out one of the players outside of this building. Now, a big part of winning fights in Apex, like I touched on earlier, is trying to single out an enemy. If you notice a legend, especially someone without much mobility like a Crypto, a Bloodhound, a Watson, etc., as an IGL, you need to make that call to try and send your whole squad to ape or ambush that one player. This is what the enemy team tried to do here, which is smart. They're trying to single out one of FURIA's players outside, but the anchor with Gibby is able to help with the bubble, and then his Watson is able to drop from above to help his teammates and ultimately win that fight. Now next up, we have the game-winning clip. This fight, this 3v3 was just so insane, so we had to include it. We had to break it down. In this fight, immediately FURIA recognizes it's a 3v3, just like arenas. We see that a Valk is out left by herself, and Seer can use his abilities to try and locate other positions. But as you see right here, the enemy team has that positioning over towards those blue containers. And what FURIA is thinking right now is they want to move to the right if they can. They want to gain ground on the right. So they're trying to do damage damage to that Valk on the left. That way that player has to heal and there's one less gun shooting at them as they try and rotate, because they're trying to take some more area on the right, and there is more height on the right as well. If they stay here on that fence line, they're at a big disadvantage because the other team has so much more room to play. You want to try and gain additional angles and close in on teams as you crack their shields. So the play is to damage the Valk here and to be able to take a head glitch position on the right with more height than the opposing team. So next up, Fuse makes a great play here as we see multiple enemies taking the cover behind this blue container. The Fuse ult is able to flush them out and force them to give up their position, which gives FURIA more room to work with and allows his Wattson to push in for some damage, but not pushing in for the final kill. In the back of his Wattson's head, he hears Panders telling him he has to bat, so he knows he can apply pressure for 4 seconds, but isn't going to throw himself in harm's way because he's technically down a teammate, as that teammate is using a shield battery. Now this fight is ultimately won by positioning, and there are 4 major points that I want to quickly go over with positioning. Point 1 is location. You have to understand where you and the enemy are positioned or standing, and then the second point of positioning is space control. The team that has the most space and they're able to peek or play or move around different objects and take different angles, they usually control the pace of the fight. And that is the third major point of positioning, is the pace. So with your positioning, if you have extra space, you're able to control pace in the fight and do more damage. And as you do more damage, then opens up the punish window, which is why pushing an enemy that is low on health is the standard. In hopes while they're too low to fight because they're low on health, it gives you the opportunity to move closer for the kill. So that's exactly what's happening with this clip here. They're doing damage, they're swarming this enemy team. The enemy team bubbles and they just need to wait out that bubble. And then you can see his Wattson utilizing the teammate's knockdown shield as pseudo cover. So many times you see pros doing it as they crouch and heal behind knockdown shields from teammates, or they utilize their own teammates for cover as they're waiting for the PK animation to finish. This is huge with weapons like the PK, so make sure you're practicing the timing with the PK and peeking out from cover and utilizing things like team knockdown shields for cover and fights. So those are 2 just specific 3v3 scenarios where I feel like FURIA and his Wattson displayed their dominance and displayed the proper way to 3v3. Their micro decisions with positioning and small decisions in every fight is so on point and in sync with each other. Each player plays their role effectively and relays their information to the IGL, who can make sound decisions. So if you want to improve, find your proper role, find things that you could do better, and work on the little details, and they will help you to get better as a whole. Guys, if you like this content, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comment section. Do you want me to break down more content like this? Did you enjoy this video? Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. I'm Grizzy, and I'm out. Peace.